Are you a Luo? Do you have a Luo friend? Have you ever had any interaction with a Luo man? Well, today I want to give you guys an exclusive in-depth analysis of a Luo man, and I want to put you in the shoes of an ordinary Luo man in Kenya. My name is Samuel Onyango Mbogo. I have both a Luo name and a Kikuyu name. Onyango is a Luo name given to a Luo male born early in the morning during sunrise. And then Mbogo is a Kikuyu name, which means a buffalo or something wild. I come from a generation of Luos and Luas who intermarried with different Kenyan tribes, and that's why my name is Mbogo. And it's not a shock to me that I'm a Luo with a Kikuyu name. But what you have to know is that Mbogo is a name used both by the Luas, Luos, and Kikuyu. Because in order for me to survive in Kenya, I've learned to navigate and survive in a society where Luos are stigmatized and ridiculed. So that's why in most cases, I use my grandfather's name, which is Mbogo. And I only use my other Luo name, Onyango, when I feel safe to use it. Nyinga en Samuel Onyango Mbogo. Kiwinjo maber, ibo winjo na wacho ni Onyango, kendo awacho ni Mbogo. Mbogo en nyinga, to Onyango bende nyinga. Onyango en nying jaluo, to Mbogo en nyingo kuyo. Okuche mang'eny tiyo kod Mbogo. Koro kaino kuyo to iluongi ni Mbogo, mano nyiso ni Mbogo stands for buffalo. To Onyango mano kaino kuyo. To Onyango en nying joluo, manyiso ni Onyango en ng'ama nonyuol gokinyi sama chieng' rieny. Koro nying Mbogo no ji mang'eny paroga ni an okuyo, lakini asebet katiyo kod nying no kan Nairobi, nikech kata kidhi manyo tich kai Nairobi kae, to kagiwinjo nyinga mar Onyango no, samoro ok gimi kata tich. To kagineno nyinga mar Mbogo no, kagineno nyinga mar Mbogo, to ntie kaka anyalo tiyo gi ji maber. Mane momiyo nadwaro mondo ji mondo ng'e ni samoro ing'e ni kidak Kenya kae to in jaluo, gik moko tek, ntie kaka ji treat i. Awach ni nying Mbogo no nagolo ir babana, to ng'ama nonyuolo babana, sa grandfather wangu anaitwaje na Kijaka, ng'ama nonyuolo babana ene manen Mbogo. To gimanya awacho en ni ka in jaluo to idak Nairobi, ing'e kaka tek mondo gimora mora mitimo mondo odhi kakidwaro. Emomiyo an samoro awinjoga maber nikech nyinga mar Mbogo no osekonya ahinya, nikech sama ntie kuonde makadhi to anyiso gini an Mbogo, an Samuel Mbogo, okati kod nyinga mar Onyango. Alafu ntie kuonde ma kadhi kata manyo tich, tatiyo gi nyinga mar Onyango, nikech ang'e ni okabi yudo discrimination. Lakini gimase neno en ni ka in jaluo to idak Nairobi, kata idak kamora mora Kenya kae, teka ni gisewinjo nyingi mar Onyango no, kata Otieno, Odhiambo, ntie kaka gi treat i. To mane gima nadwa nyiso kawuono ni ka in jaluo, kikibed ashamed of being a Luo. Ineno, kikibed ashamed of being a Luo. Onego ing'e ni ntie ji mang'eny woko kama gimora mora motimo, kata kotimo gima ber, tek ni giwinjo ni en Onyango, en Otieno, ntie kaka gibo treat i. Lakini onego wabende watiek tribalism. To gini wabotieko ka wabende watreat jogi kaka wadwaro mondo gitreatwa. Nikech kamoro ma ibo winjo ni Njuguna kiwinjo Njuguna kata Njoroge ichako wacho ni mano kuyo okanya woyo kode okanya tiyo kode. Being a Luo man in East Africa is not always as easy as you think, because one of the biggest misconceptions that most people have about Luo men is that all Luo men are not circumcised. Because Kenya is a country that has 42 ethnic tribes with different unique traditions. In most Kenyan tribes, circumcision is compulsory and a must, but in the Luo community, it's optional. That's why we have Luos who have gone through circumcision and those who have not. But if you are a Luo man, other Kenyan tribes always have a blanket attack on all Luo men as uncircumcised, and they constantly treat Luo men different compared to other tribes. Most Luo men in this decade are actually circumcised, either through medical procedures or through normal traditional means. But the misconception that all Luo men are not circumcised has greatly spread for several decades, to the point where it doesn't matter whether you're circumcised or not. But as long as you have a Luo name, you're always branded as a kehe, which is an abusive term referring to any uncircumcised man that the Kikuyus use for all individuals who have not practiced circumcision as a rite of passage. In actual sense, the word kehe does not mean uncircumcised man, but rather its true meaning is an immature man, or a man who has no place in the community's social ranking. The word kehe is constantly used to degrade and to humiliate Luo men, and this applies to both the circumcised and the uncircumcised. As long as you're a Luo, that word will always be used against you. So the stigma is always a shadow that follows Luo men, whether you go through the rest of your life motivated or whether your self-esteem is killed along the way. If you're a Luo politician, the name kehe will always be used against you. And if you're a Luo musician, the name kehe will always be automatically used against you, no matter how successful you become in your path of life. Most of my friends are not from my tribe. Most of my friends are from other Kenyan tribes. But I always find it very ironical when Luos are put in a bracket, and yet Kenya is for us all. This is why it takes courage to be a Luo man in East Africa. And it takes twice the level of courage if you're successful, especially if you're a successful Luo in any field of profession, because your Luo roots will always be used against you at some point in life. I believe that it's not a choice. You don't have a choice as a Luo where you are born. You don't choose your parents. But this one goes to every Luo man out there. Do not be ashamed to be a Luo. And this goes to any Kikuyu man out there. Do not be ashamed to be a Kikuyu. Because even Kikuyus have their own stigma in Kenya. I believe that Kenya is bigger than any particular tribe. And the reason I'm making this video today is because I'd like Kenyans to know that being a Kenyan is more important than being a Luo. Being a Kenyan is more important than being a Kamba. Being a Kenyan is more important than being a Kikuyu or a Kalenjin. So let's always treat each other with respect, because by the end of the day, Kenya is bigger than our small tribes.